So make it.
Sherry. I'm part of the winner zone. We're back.
Hello, we are here. Hello, everyone. I'm still in my private chat. Sorry.
Who you privately chatting, huh?
Yes. Hey,
Who are
what's up, everyone? What's up? What's up? What's up? Coming to you live from the causeway pool. I was reading so much about the other day. I just looked at my Facebook after so long, and then there was all this complaints about how people from across the causeway are coming and causing all this havoc. It's like, okay, we are open. I forgot that we are open. Anyway, hello everyone. Thank you and welcome back to another episode of HR Intervention. Episode what? Episode what?
Episode 6, 7.
Episode whatever, but we are here.
Episode 5.
Yes, you see, you had to get somebody to cue you, right?
No,
It's just-
I just look at the clicker on the top there.
Anyway, just to say that yours truly is COVID positive. Hashtag survive COVID 2022. Day 8.
And still
Filled
positive.
up on all my probiotics and my supplements, etc. But anyway, I'm gonna beat this. So yeah, we're so honored to be here, to have all of you here, and even more excited because we have a really interesting topic for today. Yeah, Sheree.
Yeah.
We can't wait to bring out our speaker, but in just a bit, he is backstage getting his makeup, hair, beard, and all that trimmed. But first, a little reminder for you guys. FYI, this is a live show and we encourage engagement. So feel free to drop your comments and chat with us in the comment sections. Sheree, even my voice sounds sexy, right?
I know. And would you like to tell our viewers why aren't you healing fast enough so that anyone who gets COVID will learn from your mistake?
Because you didn't send me enough medication?
Okay, then I will add to it. Because James Sassi refused to sit down and he started doing gardening when he got COVID because he thought he felt okay. So 8 days later, he's still positive. So guys, remember, if you do get COVID, you don't feel anything, rest. Because COVID is in your body.
I think I watched the wrong Disney show. It says I got to keep on moving. I got to move it. I got to move it. But anyway,
before we chat further and further about this, because it can get so interesting to chat about this, let's talk a bit about the show, shall we, James?
yes. Reminder for you guys. Again, live show. Hi, Clarice. She needs to get a present, for coming in. It's like, hey, hi, Shireen and James.
Yeah, she's so enthusiastic. So welcome, Dr. Jaswinder Kaur. Welcome, Clarice. For those who just joined, HR Intervention, also known as HR TV, is an online talk show brought to you by Compass Mind Asia. So who is this Compass Mind Asia that I always hear about? Let me tell you who they are. They are a corporate training provider that helps organizations grow exponentially. It goes pop through their award-winning and proven soft skills and team engagement training program. So now, James, you know who Compass Mind Asia is, right?
I don't know. I'm COVID positive. My mind's already all over the place.
Keep that drink away. It's fasting month.
Oops.
Anyway, in this show, if this is your first time joining, we interview HR experts about everything related to, HR and also career development. We had 20 amazing episodes, isn't it, on our
Hmm.
journey with really huge topics during our first season. And now we are already in our second season of the year. And this season, we've covered some really interesting topics too, including things like team effectiveness to drive culture, the culture advantage in one of our previous episodes by our LinkedIn influencer, Azif
As
Mustafa.
if,
All of you
yes.
know him. And
Yeah.
last 2 weeks, we had this really cool guy who spoke about the intricacies of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Seriously, guys, if you missed that session,
Yeah.
you must go and watch the replay on my YouTube channel, which is Shireen Kelly. So all previous episodes are put there, but I really want you to go and watch that last episode 2 weeks ago, episode 4 on the DEI.
You
Super.
see, you said you guys. That is not a DEI compliant. If
Okay.
Dr. Surinder was watching, uh,
You guys means everybody. It's a word for guys, girls, babies,
people,
adults, children, who
people, people.
people. Okay, every people on this session. Make sure you go and watch the replay of the session.
Basically, what the alien is trying to say is this show is for everyone who has a job, looking for a job, getting a job, whether you are a freelancer, business owner, fresh grad, job seeker, or especially if you're in HR. This show is for you, whether you're COVID positive or not. Still, you need to have lunch, tune in and watch us. We'd love to see who's watching us. With we had audiences from like all parts of not just Malaysia, Shireen, around the world as well. Yeah. Please do drop us a comment and tell us where you're watching from. Let us know where you are and where you're from. And before we dive further to today's topic, for those of you who don't know yet, I am the one-time Barry White sounding James Sussy, Director of Talent.
And together, I'm Shireen Kelly, Managing Director of Compass Mind Asia.
And
This
this is
is HR Intervention Season 2,
two episode.
Episode 5.
Take it away. Hey, welcome again to everyone. Those who have just joined us, comment below where you're tuning in from. And for those who are having your lunch break, unless you are fasting, it's a fasting month. Those of you who are fasting, you know, I also started, I mean, long time ago when I was with my previous colleagues, they said, uh, James, you want to celebrate Raya, you must also fast. I said, okay. They used to make fun of me because my saho used to start at 9 o'clock or 8:30, and they were like, "We start off at 5 o'clock, and you are sitting at 9." But I'm still, Anyway, uh, to our Muslim
Yeah.
friends who are fasting, let us know how all of you are doing so far. It's only half a day, so I hope you are all still hanging on. And yesterday, I happened to drive by the bazaar, the Ramadan bazaar, but I couldn't go down because I'm still positive. I didn't go down at all. I just took a drive because I needed to get out of the house.
You
So
went
I
to
took a drive.
sleep it, is it? You went to sleep
No,
it?
no, I didn't even. I wasn't even nearby. I couldn't even wind down the window. I just, oh, I want that queer. I want that queer. I want that queer. I want that queer also. But anyway, do share with us what are you guys planning to have for Buka Puasa? Yeah. So our guest for today, before we go astray with all this food,
Yeah,
and luckily, right, even though I was COVID positive, I still had my sense of smell and my sense of taste. So that's good.
you're odd.
Uh, so before we go further astray, get into the topic of which Ramadan bazaar has the best food. Uh, do put it in the comment. Yesterday, I listened to the radio. Apparently, some famous F1 driver was seen recently at one of the Ramadan bazaars.
Which one? Which one?
Lewis Hamilton.
Which Ramadan bazaar?
This was somewhere in Ampang. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Rizal. How are you? So, as I was saying before, my brother Rizal just dropped in and say, "Hello." I could literally hear him. Our guest today is a founding partner and CEO of Human Inc., an innovation house on a mission to help companies win through innovation, culture, and future skills. He has over 20 years of experience in intersection of strategy, innovation, and design. And this particular word, innovation, culture, and future skills, was which attracted me to him, apart from his handsome face, you know. And I went, boom, wow, this is a great topic that we should be talking about. Huh, Sheree?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Oh, guess what? Ileana says she's doing good, but a little more sleepy than usual, I guess, because of the Ramadan. Planning to go to the bazaar as well for Buka Puasa. Oh my God, how can we ever miss the Ramadan bazaar? I think all races in Malaysia, we all are so grateful for the Ramadan bazaar. We never miss it. I know I don't, but I won't let you know what I usually go and buy. So, talking about our dear speaker for today, our dear guest, he has powered more than 100 global brands to drive sustainable business model innovation, launching more than 200 new products and services. Wow! Delivering delightful customer experience and certified, guess, certified how many people? He certified
One,
more than
two,
20,000 design thinkers and agile leaders. Yeah, that's a lot. It sounds like
20,000.
20,000 sounds like he's 70 years old, but he's so young. In Asia, he has worked with huge companies, James, helping their leaders adopt new ways of working that drive customer centricity growth and organizational
Mm.
agility. He's this guy, I'm really looking forward to seeing him and hearing from him. He's a member of several boards, coaches selected startup founders, and invests in high potential ventures that align with his purpose and values. Well, something I really want to talk to him about, especially on the investing and high
Yeah.
potential ventures. Yeah,
I
you got to
dropped
be
the bait and I caught the biggest,
fish.
I wouldn't say fish, live from. Oh wait, we should get our audience to guess which country he's from as well.
Ah, yes.
Go ahead, introduce our amazing guest today, Sheree.
Without further ado, please welcome Christoffer Erichsen, the founding partner and CEO of Human Inc. Hi, Chris. It's
Hi,
such an
Sharon
honor.
and James. Thanks for
Yeah.
the wonderful introduction.
You know what? Before we even start, let's let our guests guess where you're from. So put it in the chat box below so that we can see whether it's correct. But anyways, we've given a bit of an introduction of you, Christoph, and we definitely would love to hear more about you. Perhaps your casual side and what are your hobbies? What are the things you like to do? If you can share with
Absolutely,
us.
absolutely. So I'm not going to reveal where I hail from. We'll see what guesses comes up. Maybe they can hear it from my accent. I'm not sure. What I do
Yes,
when
he's
I
from
when I'm
he's from the land where what's that? Elsa is from as well.
we make good beer and we make good stuff you can eat in the bakery. That much I can reveal. Risal's on it. He's already guessed it. Thanks, Risal. I'm from there. When I'm not busy running my company and working with clients, I love playing music. I'm a DJ, a disc jockey, and a record collector of the old vinyl records. So that's maybe something you didn't know, James. So I'm a huge music lover, and for me, the creativity and oh, you have one! Wow, that's the original '78 ones where you can find the real traditional Malaysian music. Still can find in the bazaar when there's markets and so on. Yes.
Yeah,
you should come over to my house, bring your record collection, we'll play some nice music.
Deal. We can
as
joke it.
Is in James' house, you go over there. Once it arrives to my house, it will mysteriously go missing.
Go ahead, Christopher. I mean, we are just finding out so much about you. I mean, now you say that you're a DJ as well. Wow.
Any
Don't
other
tell me you know Abba personally.
I think that having like some outlet apart from work and career and all the adult responsibilities is very important. And I think a lot of people discover that also during the lockdowns and so on, that having your hobby, having something you're excited about that makes you maybe forget and kind of get in flow state where you're just excited, whether it's sports, working out, music, meditation. It doesn't really matter what it is, right? Is very important, and I think I get my music from exercise and from music. Yeah.
That's cool. So, any other secrets you got to share with us, Christoph, about yourself?
We'll get to the secrets later.
Okay, great. Liliana is guessing that you're from one of the Scandinavian countries due to the Chris name, but she's not sure which one. Good one. So guys, many companies aim to be customer focused, but they struggle a lot to know what it actually looks like and how to truly make customers the center of their business. That's something a lot of people want, but they struggle. Customer experience is continuously evolving as technology and customer demands change. This is because a company was once a customer-centric company doesn't mean that it is today. I mean, things are changing so fast that we become obsolete. So what does it mean to be customer-centric in 2022? And how can we unlock customer centricity and innovation in our company? It's a question that a lot of companies ask these days. So, Chris, there are many questions in our mind and also in our audience minds as well.
Yes.
So let's proceed.
Especially how do you innovate? How do you all these things? I mean, as usual, it's not going to be about us, it's going to be about you. So let me start off with the first question, Christoph. Many companies are focusing more on customer experience. They even have this customer experience index, etc., and innovation. What are the trends that are driving the need for customer centricity and innovation in particularly large companies?
Yeah, thanks for the great intro and great question, James. I guess you can say that all the uncertainty we've had through the pandemic has driven, you can say, change in how customers live and how they want to do business. And many customers have started preferring doing business online as opposed to going out in malls and shops and so on, right? But it's not just the daily necessities, it's also when we're looking for a car or insurance or anything, we're doing it on our phones, on our tablets, on our laptops, right? So that's one kind of key change that has driven the focus of what does it mean to serve customers well when you're not actually meeting the customer in person? How can you give them the same or even a better experience when you're doing it through their mobile device? So that's one, but also you can say the global uncertainty of the Ukraine conflict, economic sanctions, China, America, I mean, all these different pressures, sustainability being an expectation, both from Bursa, from investors, from customers, what's your environmental footprint, what are you doing for the poor community and so on. There are a lot of pressures on businesses, which means businesses have to rethink who are we and what value are we going to deliver and create for our customers. So that's been kind of, you can say, almost like the perfect storm for leaders. There's so many things to consider. At the same time, employees are also changing. They want to work from home or hybrid, or some want to go back to the office. And if I'm in the office, how come other people are dialing in? And, so there's so much change going on that the C-suite is really kind of scratching their heads and saying, this is different. There's no playbook for this one. I wasn't trained for this. I've never seen so much chaos, so much change at the same time, right? And no one really has the answer. The only thing we know, we don't really know what's going to come next. What's the next big thing? Now it's Ukraine and so on. What's the next big thing, right? The only thing we know is it's not going to be similar to yesterday or today, right? So the need to be able to, as leaders, as organizations, to make sense of this change, discover it, make sense of it, what does it mean, and quickly experiment with how should we show up now? What could we offer them? What would it look like? How should, if it's in a store, how would we do it? What do they then do afterwards on their devices and so on? Is higher than ever before.
Before Shireen asks a question, I'm glad that you said the perfect storm, not just the movie, but I think these days it's not just about the perfect storm. It's not just about riding out the storm. It's about how do you get ahead of the storm and see, hey, the storm is coming. Let's get ready. This is what we need.
How do you see it from afar, right? Kind of see around the corner into the future, because if you pay enough attention to trends, as we call it weak signals, there are a small group of people who are starting to do something interesting. 10 years ago, people started talking about remote work. Some people started flying from Europe and US to Bali to hang out in Bali and do their work from there instead of sitting in.
I want to go to Bali.
It looked quite appealing, but most people like crazy. This is just some startups, and no one can do that. And in my company, that would never fly, right? But if for those companies who had paid attention to those weak signals, they were more ready when COVID happened and the lockdowns came and everybody had to work from home. There was no challenge for them because they were already working in a hybrid mode. So it was just a bit more remote or maybe completely hybrid. Right? So that's a good example that there are, in a way, big incentives for organizations to look at these signals and act on them quicker, experiment quicker.
And that's where your expertise comes in, like, the agile mindset, and as well as innovation. Karen's got this question that she's dying to ask.
Yeah, actually, I so agree about this hybrid work environment. Some people were already practicing pre-COVID. Like for instance, in our company, we had one working from home 2 times a week. Another one used to just go back to Sarawak and work there for a whole month. And we never used to know whether the person was working here or working away, because the transition was so well done. So when COVID actually hit, it was very smooth for a lot of us. Yeah, but organizations have to transform and change very fast, and they need to see, like you said, they need to see the storm coming before it even comes. If not, it's a bit too late already. So, Christoph, here's another question for you. What do these changes mean for businesses and HR leaders in large companies?
Well, like I said, it is this kind of big pressure, and I think we've been in a way successfully getting through the lockdowns and working from home, and kind of how do we deliver the old business through digital channels? How do we do all the old meetings through digital channels? But now we need to figure out what's next, right? This was kind of driven by crisis. We have to do it, do or die, as they say here, right? But now there isn't maybe that same pressure on teams. Maybe there's a bit of fatigue, a bit of confusion. So how are we going to go about it now, right? And the working from home and noticing that in advance was one example. But if you look at any market space, whether it's fashion, retail, consumer electronics, insurance, banking, telco, whatever, there are some people doing something interesting right now. It could be a startup in Finland. It could be a consumer group in Latin America. It could be, a governmental initiative in West Africa. But if you pay attention to these signals, you will have opportunities to begin saying, what would that look like in Malaysia? What would that look like in Southeast Asia? Right? So when we talk about what challenges this means for senior leaders, there's a lack of, in a way, understanding what does this mean for us? Can we just launch our strategy the way we've done it before, 3-year plan, shopping list of things that different departments want, who's going to get how much budget, what are the KPIs, and then go? Or do we actually need to have more sense making, more actually talking to customers, looking at customer data, looking at trend data, looking at competitors? Because the startups and the large tech firms are very quick at discovering, because they're already using both design thinking and many other methods to kind of smell out opportunity spaces. But the larger corporates are kind of often coming at it a bit more traditional. So that's one of the pain points that we're hearing many of the senior leaders that we're working with, is kind of how do we create customer-centric strategy, and even if we have one, how do we get people to understand what it means? How do we kind of activate that? We have that big goal in 3 years. We should make twice as much money. We want to be more digital. You have everybody in your industry saying that, right? But how are you going to? What did that feel like for your customer? How can you make your customer win? Because then you're more likely to be twice as big in 2 or 3 years, right? So
Chris,
those are some.
before we go on to the next question, I think your girlfriend is watching you now. Muller really, she says, "It's Chris!" Woohoo! Hi, Muller. Muller, I got to know Muller a few weeks ago when I was literally, moderating her. She was a guest at this conference, unconferencing, by the way. I'm not feeling better. I was just telling Chris, I went into my closet, took this happy pill, and popped a few. And look,
Forced to do it.
yeah. I'm glad that you spoke about some of the challenges, right, Christoph? That actually brings me to my question. You work with senior corporate leaders in all these different companies, like 20,000 is like boom, it's mind-blowing, right? But what are some of the key challenges that you hear and notice these senior corporate leaders are struggling with? Maybe you spoke about a few already, but what are the top maybe three challenges that corporate leaders are struggling with now?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, James, it's often people struggle with something and they try to kind of give words to it, and sometimes they're still trying to find out what is actually the problem, right? So I think that conversation is the kind of the first step, is really kind of discovering what is the challenge, what is it we're trying to get done, where do we want to go, what do we believe in. The second part is then, do we have people, often senior leaders feel a little bit alone because they may see the big picture. They may have kind of some ideas around what's the future of our company, what am I excited about, where could we potentially be going, how could we define growth for ourselves. But often when they kind of look around in the rest of the team or in the departments, the folks reporting to them, they're feeling, well, they're not giving me the breakthrough ideas. I have to do it all myself, but I don't want to, So they're kind of stuck in that between, should I tell them what to do, or why can't they? Right? And at the same time, they may also be leading in ways that are not always encouraging their teams to challenging them, right? That when people suggest something else than what they had in mind, then, so they're kind of a little bit stuck there. And that's often where we come into the convo to kind of help them look at this. But even if they have kind of defined, okay, we know we want to grow in this space, we think customers, and we have understood customers want this type of value. Often there's a lack of ability in organizations to churn out new solutions, new products, new services quickly. So it takes forever to launch something new, that what was a strategy in January is still not launched when you get to November, right? Or maybe even next year, January, right? So the speed and agility is missing, right? So then the need, you can say, in essence, for leaders and large organizations is to build what we call innovation muscle, right? To unlock the customer opportunity, the human opportunity, you need to have a new way of working. And large organizations have been pretty good at delivering the same old thing, 3% better every year, 3% cheaper every year, maybe 3% faster. But we're not talking about 3% anymore. We're talking about 5x, 10x. Those organizations who can find a 5 times better value will have my attention as a consumer immediately. If someone that's 3% better than the competitor, it's not going to make me move my telco or my bank, right? So everyone is in a way very similar, and it's hard as a consumer to tell the difference between this toothpaste or this bank or this telco from the next, right? What's so good about you? How are you so different? So those are some of the challenges.
Especially when we're talking about being customer centric, right? There's a lot of companies that constantly put out surveys and find out customer needs. They even have trend analysis. Whether you like it or not, like Google knows exactly what you're thinking about even before you're typing it, and says, are you trying to Google for this? I'm like, what? You read my mind. This is actually customer analysis, and this is where your perfect storm comes in. It's like, if I was a company that was serving this huge clientele with customers, etc., I need to know how to coach and advise these business leaders on what my customers will be expecting, right?
Yeah.
Amazing job that you've been doing, right? But before we go on, if our audience, if you have any opinion, share with us below, or if you have experienced this perfect storm where you expected the unexpected. That quotation itself is kind of mind-blowing. It's like, how do you expect the unexpected? That means you've already expected the expected. Okay, never mind, let's leave that aside. But my question is,
Use the audience.
yeah, uh,
Yeah. So
if you do have questions and you want to ask Christoph further into his speciality, please do drop it in the comment.
yeah, make sure you take advantage because Christoph is here and he's going to share as much knowledge as possible. I'm actually
Thank
Don't
learning.
take advantage of him. Huh?
No, take advantage of his knowledge, not of
Yes.
him. I am taking advantage of his knowledge to actually take notes. So if you guys are learning so much, also take down a lot of notes and ask your questions. And don't forget to give Christoph a lot of love and likes. So, Christoph, I understand that, design thinking, there is some relevance to customer centricity. What is this design thinking all about, if you care to explain to us?
Absolutely. I guess in simple terms, you can say business has always been about solving problems. And problems, when human beings want something and they're not getting it, that's a problem, right? So if we don't understand a customer in our industry, how they really feel now, not what they used to feel or how they used to behave, but how they're really feeling now, it's hard for us to be relevant to them. But most organizations have been in a way serving customers with a fairly similar promise of value. We can, with people who struggle with this, we have this product and it will benefit you in these ways, right? So design thinking helps teams and leaders and project teams who are either trying to improve an existing solution or come up with a new one, may want to launch into a new country or serve a new customer segment, want to maybe put adjacent value, additional things to existing customers. What else could we do to them? It helps them really understand what is the life of this user, this human being, this customer, and what is it they're trying to get done, what influences them, what's on their mind, where do they go about their life, what news do they follow, what softwares do they use, what apps do they use, who's influencing their thinking, what are they worried about, what keeps them up at night. And that gives you a much better springboard to be creative and come up with creative ideas. Back to what I said before, the senior leader saying, I need breakthrough ideas, and then they get more of yesterday's kind of thinking. So unless we get more empathy when we're trying to come up with new ideas, we're unlikely to really be relevant to our customers. We can come with crazy ideas, and we know that the key reason that corporates fail when they launch something, a new product, or startups fail when they take investors' money, it's not that the technology don't work. It's not that the button don't take you to the next page on the app, or that the new IoT device doesn't work. It's actually that it's solving a problem that customers don't care about, or it's solving a problem they care about, but in a way that doesn't make them feel good. You're making my life worse, not better, right? It's not all innovation that works, right? Most innovations actually fail. So in essence, you can say that design thinking is a simple methodology practice. At least at a glance, it's very simple. Of course, you can go deep in it, but even with some basic tools to just understand customers, define what they're really looking for, get creative around how could we give that to them. Are there other ways we could serve them? We've always done it this way. What other ways could we consider? Now that we don't think about it from our company looking out at the market, but we're looking at it from the kind of shoes of our users, our customers. What options could be available to them? What technologies could we use? What methods could we use? And then quickly testing those ideas before building it, before putting in millions into it or hundreds of thousands into it. You can build a quick, what we call a prototype, a quick testable model that will give a small group of users of the right type the opportunity to try it out for real. And you can observe them as a business leader, as a designer. You can observe them either online or in person. How do they actually behave? If we build an app with this promise, we will solve this problem for you, you will feel this way afterwards. How will they actually behave if you give them that solution? You may think they're going to go to subscribe and I'll pay here, but they might go somewhere else, or they may just stop using it. right? So before putting all that money into building the solution, test whether you have the right problem and whether you deliver it in the right way and creating the right customer experience.
That was another thing that attracted me to you, apart from your good looks, Chris, was design thinking, because
You're the good-looking
I
guy here.
yeah, I have
Obviously,
put
James.
Nice.
you should have seen me a couple of days ago. I was like, why did I do the gardening in the first place? Anyway, design thinking has always been a favorite topic of mine. I mean, uh, uh, I did a lot of research on design thinking a long time ago. Uh, there's this father of design thinking. His name is Reitel, if I'm not mistaken. Wilhelm Jacob Reitel, Berlin. He's from Berlin, and he coined the word called wicked problem.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's where design thinking came about. But how does this design thinking work from an expert?
Yeah. So for example, back to the example I mentioned before, right? Common situation in the corporate world, we have to come up with a strategy. We need approval from the board. We need some action plans so we can communicate to our teams. What are we supposed to be working on next year or this year, depending on the timing of it, right? Very often it just starts with, okay, we have 10 products or 10 services. We have this many customers buying service A, service B, service C. Okay, how can we grow that 5% or 10%? More marketing, what else can we do, right? It's not a very inspiring conversation. But if you start with saying, how are people actually living? How are people behaving in the market space that we're in? What are the things that are changing in their lives? What are their, maybe if you have a B2B customer, what's changing in your customer's life? How might that change your value chain? If you're serving B2C customers, what's changing in the family? What's changing with health? What's changing with children's education, etc. Right? So to look at how some of these kind of bigger trends are affecting the person that you're trying to serve or the customer segment that you're trying to serve. So by getting a bigger empathy with them, you're able to come up with much more powerful propositions or promises of value. So first, there's a bit of doing quick interviews, and you only need to talk to 7 customers from the right segment to kind of start seeing the same patterns emerging. So number 8, 9, and 10 will start telling you somewhat similar things to the first 7 you spoke to. And this is proven from science. The next thing is then once you have built some profiles of the type of customers, you may have multiple types of customers you're serving. Could be young urban dwellers, it could be retirees. I mean, that depends on the business. Once you have these profiles that you're prioritizing these 3 customer segments, for example, we want to serve better. Then you begin ideating and saying, now that we know what their needs are, what are the ways that we can serve them? You may come up with crazy ideas, silly ideas. You may also actually stumble over some amazing ideas that, at least in theory, sounds great. But then, how can you make those ideas strong enough and convincing enough that people are willing to do something new, or click on a button, or take out the credit card and pay? Right? So that's why we build a prototype. And in the prototyping stage, you also actually, as you start drawing something or building it in PowerPoint, there are many ways to, you can build it in Lego bricks or clay. It depends on whether it's a physical product or a digital service, or even a role play you can create for a sales pitch. So depending on the challenge, you can make your idea concrete. And when the moment you start thinking about how would it work, what would the user see through their eyes, what would they hear, what would they smell in the bakery, the moment you start having to make it real, actually your idea starts developing further. And by making it tangible, it's also easier for a group of people to contribute with different ideas and inputs. Maybe legal says, oh, but we have to think about, or finance says, oh, that would be expensive. Could we try with another way of delivering the same value? So it's also a way that unlocks team collaboration. Once you have this prototype, then you run 7 tests again to see if we put it in front of 7 customers who are all in the same demographic, have the same needs, how will they respond? And you might find that your amazing idea doesn't work at all. But then the question is not, oh, then we should give up. Maybe the question is, why didn't they like it? And what was it about our understanding of customers we had missed out? Maybe they didn't tell us when we spoke to them, but when they tried doing something, you will discover what it is they really want. So you may need to tweak your idea, you may need to tweak your prototype and run another set of tests. But you can do this very quickly. You can do this in a week. If it's a very quick and dirty prototype, you can do it the same day you get the idea. But very often decisions are just made that we should just build out this thing. We decide in November, the next year we're going to do this thing, and project teams spend tons of hours and weeks and months and dollars building something only to find out once launching that it was nothing special or people don't want it anyway. Right? So design thinking reduces these risks.
Yeah.
Yes.
For our
I,
guests, just to explain, if you can imagine the infinity sign, right? The infinity symbol, right? So that's exactly what the design stages are. The 5 steps that you just explained was like, you said empathy, empathizing, and then you ideate, and then you
Mhm.
come up with a prototype, and then you test that prototype, and then you define, and then you go back. It's a repetition. It's always about improving and getting ahead of the storm and expecting what our
Exactly.
customers are not expecting. What our customers are not expecting, and then when they come to the stage of expecting, boom, you are already there with the answers, right?
Exactly.
So
And it doesn't even mean that you necessarily need to start with research and understand. It could be we already have an idea. How can we quickly test it? Or we have something that's not working. Maybe we need to research why is it not working before we can make it better, right? So you can in a way start in any of these spaces. Absolutely.
and that's where coaches like you come in as well. I mean, you may have an idea, maybe you are lost at the prototypes, and you come in and you start coaching them to the next level, right? We still have a few more questions for our guests before the show ends. So if you have any questions or things you want to share regarding this topic, feel free to comment, because this is an amazing topic. If you are working with customers, innovation, design thinking, agile mindset, this is the best time to come in and
Come
start
on.
asking. Yeah, get it off your chest.
yeah, that's true. Oh my God, I think the COVID is coming to. It's transferring to.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's scary. Chris, this is definitely a new way of working, and many large companies struggle with the innovation and traditional mindsets, right? How can we incorporate it in our company? Can you give me
Yeah.
some examples also?
Yeah, I think most large companies don't really want anything new. There's plenty of new going on already, right? We don't need another problem. So I think it's not really about bringing in customer centricity or innovation or design as such. I think it's really about asking about where are we right now and what do we need. And for our company, is the problem that we're not acquiring enough new customers? Is it that we have already grown a lot in the existing customer segments and we want to win by expanding who we can serve? Do we want to get into internationalization, exports, capture a new market? Are we looking for partnerships? So depending on what the problem is, that should in a way be the anchor. We want what is it about maybe retaining customers? Maybe we're selling a lot, but they stop buying from us, and we want them to be more sticky with us, right? It's I think 7 or 8 times easier to sell to an existing customer than to sell to a new one, right? So depending on what challenges or opportunities the company is looking at from a strategy standpoint, that should be the angle of why customer centricity, because it increases loyalty, it increases word of mouth. If you have great experience, then you're more likely to tell your friends, oh, you should try the Ramadan Bazaar over in Ampang. It's way better than the one in PJ. I don't know. But that's an example, right?
Well, if it's
That
good
when,
enough for an F1 driver.
yeah, then it's good enough for you, right? Exactly. So when we want that kind of excitement from our customers, right? The next question is then, now that we know why we want to drive it, then it's really trying to make sense of how can we get people to understand it. First, the leadership often needs to kind of embrace this way of thinking a bit. So we do some quick training and onboarding of them, but not really train, but more aligning around where are you now, where do you need to go, what could be the opportunities to use this method. If you were to see something move and get better, what would you want to grow? If you want to reduce something, what is it you want to reduce, right? The kind of as is and to be. And how can we use design for that? Then there's a bit of upskilling. Typically, the folks working in kind of in the belly of the beast, the product teams, the marketing teams, sales enablement. It depends. Operations. That varies a bit. To get them upskilled quickly into design thinking. more importantly is then ensuring that they have real business challenges to work on using design thinking and coaching them to use it. Right? Because it's very easy to go to a training. It's very hard to start doing new stuff. It's easy for me to learn about how to exercise, but it's very hard for me to pull my way all the way over to the gym. So I think it's also about applying it, and that's where leaders again play a key role in creating space to actually step back, take time, understand customer, experiment with something that might not work, learn from why it didn't work, and keep at it. Don't just give up. Oh, we tried that, that didn't work. Why didn't it work? Maybe failing is halfway to succeeding, right? What is it we're learning? So those are some of the shifts that are important for a company to be invested in making. If you want better customer experience, if you want growth, if you want customers to rave about you, if you want to stay relevant, if you want to be able to defend yourself against other companies who's innovating and disrupting quickly.
Yeah, and it's all about staying ahead of the competition, right? I mean, connecting the dots of what your customers want and why they have hired you. I mean, connecting the dots as to you are serving the customers. So, how do I enable things like, you know, being customer centric, using innovation, using agile mindset, using design thinking? How do I utilize this and then advise my clients in terms of adding value, customer value, enabling a better customer experience, and also, of course, with everything there is a life cycle, right? So this is being that customer centric thingy. But my question is like it is said that customer centricity is key to innovation for businesses. So thinking of you being, you know, center, and then you have all these customers, right? And that's where innovation comes in. Why is that? Why is that?
So you can say that then we know from research that companies that are design driven and therefore focus on customers and putting customers at the center of what they do, not being product centric but being customer centric, is the opposite, right? Product centric is, I just want to sell this thing to you. We probably all spoke to that salesman who's just trying to sell you the thing he wants to sell, as opposed to understanding, so James, what's going on for you? And what do you need? What are you trying to accomplish? Right? Oh, then I can give you this. I recommend this because this, or maybe I'm not right for you. You should talk to our partners over here. So we've all had that experience. Right? So we know the companies that do that have a 219% better ROI than the average S&P 500, which are already globally awesome companies, right? So this is why you can say globally leading companies like Google, Apple, and so on have adopted and embraced designly ways of working. Part of that is not just the methods of going through the 5 steps that you correctly mentioned, but it's also about the mindset of leaders, the mindset of colleagues, the culture in the organization, right? So empathy being a key piece. If I'm not curious and interested in how customers feel or employees feel, how can I come up with the right solutions? If I'm not willing to try and experiment and kind of fail forward, then I'm not going to learn as quickly as the guys across the street. If I don't make my ideas tangible and I just talk about strategy at a high level, but I'm not able to give a clear picture to my employees what winning looks like and what I need from them, what I need their help with. How can I, as an employee, make the strategy happen? Then it will just be some story that's happening in the boardroom, but not something. So there's also some kind of softer shifts apart from the process and the methods. There's also some, you can say, mindset shifts that are very important for this tool.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that
take for example, Mala really, she just upgraded herself to becoming your girlfriend. I just suggested. You see the power. And she promoted herself to becoming your girlfriend. I hope your girlfriend's not tuning into the show.
I'm sure. Then there'll be a problem. You know, as you speak about fail it forward, I always believe, it's good to fail it forward, and then that's where you learn a lot. And when you fail is when you learn the most. So changes are happening all the time now. You know, for many many companies, right, there are huge difference between what's in their business plans and the market expansions for growth, right? How can companies manage customer centricity innovation systematically? Sometimes it gets so confusing, it can get all over the place.
Yeah, the process, the methodology, all these things comes in. I mean, for somebody who's like, all these things.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing is, and I in a way keep repeating this because this is what's largely missing in many large companies, is If we don't know what success looks like for our customers, then how can we measure if we're delivering it? We can sell how many we sell of those things, but we can measure how many stop paying for them or don't buy again from us. But if we don't know what customers, how they evaluate success, we will not really know why they stop buying it, right? Or why they don't rave about us to their friends and so on, right? Why they don't buy the upgrade, or why they don't stay with us. So the research is key to understand that. Once you understand that, then you can build in metrics in terms of customer experience. At different stages, we call it the customer journey. So as you discover you have a need, a problem, something you need to get done, I need to buy a couch, I need a new car, I want a new house, I want to buy something for my children, or whatever it might be. Then you would typically start looking for it or asking your friends, either looking at social media, you might Google, you might search. So what is the journey of someone that you consider a potential customer, from them discovering they may have a problem, they may have a need, they want something in their lives, all the way towards them feeling, okay, now I got what I needed and it was amazing. What would that ideal journey look like, and what is the real reality of how it feels right now with your company? So if you can map that out, then you can also begin measuring along this journey, from looking at your website or looking at your social media or considering your physical product in a store. Should I buy this or not? Once they buy it and open it, how do they feel? Once they get the confirmation email or whatever it might be. So it's really measuring and understanding in all these steps what success looks like and how customers feel as they do business with you. And then you can begin seeing hotspots that this part of the journey is great, but after us promising all this, customers are disappointed at this stage. You sold me an insurance, now I'm trying to make a claim. You're making it so difficult to get my money back. I've already paid. How come? So we've all had those experiences where brands have promised us something and we felt disappointed, right? That's very expensive for business, right? It should be the other way around, a bit like in a good 5-star hotel. Oh, I'm so sorry, we made a mistake on your reservation. We'll give you a free upgrade. We'll be like, oh, thank God they made a mistake, right? In a sense, right? Because then you tell all your friends, yeah, I stayed at this place in Penang. It was awesome.
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Right.
It's like
I'm still waiting for my Samsung phone, which I paid to reserve, and it's being sold out there. And the
somebody say Samsung phone. Did somebody say Samsung phone?
phone, yes, I've been waiting more than a month. It's being sold outside there, and as a customer who paid in advance, I've not got mine. There you go.
And
So
customers who
Oh,
are unhappy,
I think they sent yours to me.
customers who are unhappy are many times more likely to tell people about it online than they are to tell you when it's awesome. So there's also this risk that from every unhappy customer, you're going to have a lot of other customers that are hard to convince, right? For example, with the phone you showed before, I know someone who had that phone and the screen cracked. So it's like, I'm not going to buy that phone because my friend told me that, right? Now you're mentioning it here on a call, right? So these, my experience, whether good or bad, gets amplified online and informs other people when they're looking for that solution. So one customer's good or bad experience will influence whether you can convert new customers, right? So this is why customer experience is, in a way, what you have to manage. The product or the service that you deliver is not really what you deliver. It's the feeling of the product or the service that you deliver. That
You
is
can see how unhappy this customer called Shireen Calais is. Like when I see Shireen, look, and this talking about design thinking and innovation. I mean, I'm not promoting, but I'm still finding out all these amazing features from this fold. I mean, if you fold it and it's like this, right? It's so easy to carry, and it's amazing features. This is so useful for me. I mean, when you go through this process about design thinking, I mean, boom, right? But in everything, of course, there is always that one or two person who are responsible to drive such things like, why do we need design thinking? Why do we need all this? These are called leaders in the organization. They hold huge power when it comes to incorporating, design thinking at work and all that we've talked about, right? What would your advice be to everyone in playing their part in unlocking design thinking? Don't just leave it to the leader, but how would the rest of us be involved when it comes to unlocking design thinking, customer centricity, innovation in the organization, being the proactive person that we are.
I mean, with experienced folks like you, James, and Sharon, right? We all know that when you talk to an organization, it may be that you're not talking to the CEO or the COO or chief digital officer. It could be that it's one frustrated leader sitting in the sales team or in operations or in the shared service center, right? And they may not have the power to change global strategy or even country level have the ear of the CEO. So these methods can help you in your team and your function. But obviously, for the company and the shareholders to win in the greatest possible way, the ideal play would be that you understand how design can enable your strategy. Right? You understand if this is where we want to, this is who we want to be in the future. What are the questions we need to answer? What are the problems we're facing? Second is then upskilling people with the right skills and building the right mindsets in the organization, creating spaces, meaning projects, requirements internally that we need this problem solved. This is the design challenge. How might we help people buy mobile phones, or how might we make our mobile phones more sustainable, or how might we benefit from more diversity, or whatever it might be, right? And create space for experimentation with different ways of doing this and measure whether it works or not. It's not just a happy post-it note all over the place. You can do it in a very structured way where you start with the C-suite. Then once you've done that, you create some project streams. You support these teams with the right skills, but more importantly, the right method and flow. And you measure, now that you build 5 different prototypes for 5 different problems, which ones actually worked. Those you can then begin building the business case for. Right? So it's also important to move beyond the design thinking into agility, which is now that you found value, now customers say, I love your new campaign or your new mobile phone, whatever it is. How do you move from there to quickly launching it for real? Right, so that's a second maybe next comment we can have, but that part is very key as well. Right?
I mean, again, with the Samsung, right, they have these 2 options, which is the fold and the flip, right? And you can't use any earphones. You have to get the bud, the earbud. You know, there is no place for you to put it. So this is where you've bought this product, but then you also need this product and this product to make this one work. So whoever, I mean, I have to take my hats off to whoever came up with this design, right? They thought through everything. Okay, we're not just going to sell them this product, but by the way, you also need this and this and this. And it's going to cost you You know, I don't know how much Shireen paid for her order, but I hardly change mobile phone. But when I looked at this, I was like, okay, I went past the shop and then I went past it again, and they had this promo. They said, buy this and you get this, and in my language.
Now
yeah. Amazing. I mean, it's been an amazing topic again this time. Yeah, Shireen.
Definitely. And we are actually approaching to the end of the show already. That's so fast. I didn't feel time to by at all. So we really like to thank you, Chris, for such an amazing and insightful session, and most of all to have this serious discussion with us only today.
I'm very serious. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really enjoyed the conversation and hope you feel better soon, James, as well.
Yeah, I've got my homemade probiotics. I'm not trying to promote, but anybody who wants to have probiotics, homemade, halal, this is the Ramadan version. Dates
and when you buy that, what are you bundling it with? You will get this and this and this. You'll get James for free.
Stop eclipsing me.
Subscribe here.
So before we end, are there any ways we and the audience can reach out to you? And should they have any questions or want to know more, perhaps you want to share your social media, Chris?
Absolutely. I will probably drop it in the comments under this. You can find me on LinkedIn, Christoffer Erichsen, humaninc.co, humaninc.co. And you can definitely reach out to me there as well. And feel free to have a look. I'd be more than happy to chat. Also, if you're not looking to buy anything or whatever, that's absolutely fine. Feel free to reach out and just connect. Yeah.
Yeah. So reach
Thank you
out
so
to
much.
Chris on LinkedIn. Yeah, there it's in the chat box. But don't leave us first, guys. If you click on the link, you leave us it straight away. So we're coming to the end.
I mean, again, thank you so much, Chris. I mean, I just I messaged Chris via LinkedIn. I said, "Hey, Chris, we've got this show. We would like you to come on board," and we connected. And look, we have so much to talk about, right?
Great
Yeah,
Uh,
content.
great.
you know, to our audience, stay tuned on Compass Mind Asia's social media pages for more info about our upcoming episodes. And happy anniversary, Shireen! I was just telling
Woohoo! We are 1 year old.
her ago, she called me and
Congrats.
she said, I've got this idea. I was like, idea? I like ideas. Let's innovate. Blah 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 blah. And boom,
We did the design
here we
thinking
are.
process, 5-step process.
Yes. So if you are a HR leader and want to be our guest, like Chris here, for the shows, you can drop me a DM via our LinkedIn or Shireen, or email us. And if you have, and if any of you are HR and L&D managers planning your training for the year or have any training related inquiries, do email Shireen at training@compassmind.com. And for
And
our Muslim friends who are fasting, we wish you happy fasting, Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Al Kareem. Have a blessed Ramadan. I am so looking forward to Hari Raya because
yes.
there is no border closures, there's no whatever, but gather with social distancing. Have that in mind, right? One day that I go out of my house after all these years being so cautious, I forget to wear the mask while going down the lift, and boom, COVID says,
I caught you there.
"Hey!" Yeah. So you can never be. Don't let your guard down, right? You never know. You never know. So we'll see you guys on our next episode of HR Intervention. Remember, serious.
Serious discussions only. Bye.